a sculptor, or a writer, or a painter, whatever, we are all really putting ourselves into that work. It's not like you make a work in 10 seconds, Reminder to people when they view the works to just see the grandeur and beauty of the natural world. Somebody who creates work for a gallery or, we can all be artists in some way or the other.
This is the Expressions Podcast by the New Indian Express, where visionaries and pathbreakers come together for candid conversations, fresh perspectives, and thought-provoking stories that shape our world. On today's episode of the Expressions Podcast, we're joined by Nidhi Mariam Jacob, a multidisciplinary artist from Bangalore whose work is rooted in memory, nature, and reclamation. Her vivid series like fantasy gardens transform everyday botanicals like lantana, jasmine, and lotus pods into living symbols of healing, womanhood, and resistance. From painting on canvas to skin, her Breathing Canvas project reimagines the female body as sacred ground, reclaiming space through stillness and breath. Nidhi's art is lush, poetic, and quietly radical, and today she brings us into the gardens of her mind.
Hi Nidhi, welcome to our show.
Hi,
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start by asking you, what's your earliest memory of drawing and painting? Anything that you felt or when you first laid your hands or expressed with your hands.
Yeah. So I was an only child. I am an only child. And unlike now where we have phones and gadgets and everything, I had a lot of time playing on my own, spending time on my own.
Yeah.
So I would collect stones and sticks and feathers and go to the side of the house and, make stuff with it. So I think that's my earliest memory of having to build things out of found objects and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say that is my earliest memory of creation,
Okay.
and working with my hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did this?
As long as I can remember, actually, like
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 years old.
Yeah.
I would collect feathers, and I had a little thing in my house where it was my sacred space, like a little altar of all my collection of things.
Nice.
And so it started then.
Was there an early success or moment of encouragement that really stayed with you?
So I really didn't know that I could draw or paint, or even if I was good at it when I was young. And then at some point, I think at 7 or 8 years old, I did a drawing competition in school. And I remember drawing an owl out of my imagination, and I won the prize for that. And then I remember thinking, and my mom and dad and everybody were like, oh, she's won a prize, she must be. And I was like, oh, I must be good at it. So I think that was an early memory. And then I just kept drawing. I loved my colors. And like I said, I spent a lot of time alone.
Yeah.
So my exploration started from then. And then after that, there was my project Breathing Canvas, which is in my later years. Pushed my confidence up to a level where I said, you know what, I can be a part of the art world, because I didn't go to art school. And then I slowly started realizing that I always had this thing like, oh, I didn't go to art school, I'm not part of the art community. But then I realized that my voice it was important. My voice was important, and that if you had an idea and you stuck with it, that you could take it through and go places with it. So yeah.
Did any early influences, perhaps modern abstract painters like Henry Matisse, did they have any sort of influence on your work subconsciously also?
So since I was young, I loved observing works, artworks and stuff. I didn't know names at that point, except the Van Goghs and, those kind of things. But when I started painting my fantasy gardens, which is about 8 years ago, there was no influence in the sense that it was a signature style that I was trying to make for myself, and like make a place for myself in the botanical art world, because botanical art is
huge,
immense, right? And there are like millions of talented artists who do botanical work. So for me, it was that. But I have been told that Henry Rousseau's paintings are similar to mine. I didn't know him until somebody told me.
Okay.
But yeah, influences are everywhere.
Yeah.
We all get influenced by what we see.
Yeah.
And then, take that and put it into our work. So, yeah.
So since 2016, your work has moved from realism to what you describe as magical realism. Was there a turning point when you began painting not just what you saw, but what you remembered so far?
Yeah. So I used to paint realistic flowers
Yeah.
and foliage and things like that. But like I said, at some point I was trying to form a signature style for myself, and it was a period in my life where I said, I want to stand apart from the industry in some way. And I started developing this very kind of dense, you've seen it, the dense gardens that I make,
Yeah.
the forests and gardens.
Yeah.
And I moved from the realistic paintings to a more illustrative style. Actually, I was influenced by my children with more simplistic shapes and colors and all those things. Yeah, and I think that's where it happened. And I always talk about this at every interview that I do. I had a friend who lived downstairs from me who bought like an IKEA table. And she had this huge board that came, right, the packaging. I was not financially so thin to buy 10 canvases and keep it in my house. So I took the IKEA board, cut it into pieces, squares, and I painted one, which was my first fantasy garden, that style. And Aarti Gupta, who's a Bangalorean and she collects art, and I put it on Instagram, and she called me or messaged me, and she said, listen, Nidhi, there's something here. There's something in this piece of work.
Yeah.
I want to buy it now because I think you're going to be very expensive and I can't afford you in 2-3 years. And we just laughed and I was like, oh, so sweet and all that. And she said, just keep at it. And yeah, so that illustrative style came from that one piece of IKEA cardboard that I painted on, and then just took it further. Yeah.
Lovely. And what do your children think of your work?
My children, my son, I hope he will become an artist because he's really good.
Okay.
And I think he's really good. And my daughter also draws and paints and stuff. At this point, they're constantly like, Mom, you're always painting. It's so exhausting, But I think they do get a sense of what it takes, like the amount of work and hard work it takes to put into something. Because I feel like in this day and age, everyone's like, I want to be famous, I want to be rich, I want to be,
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, the journey and the process, without thinking of the result of fame and, money and all those things, is what will get you there. That's just a byproduct of your work.
Absolutely.
So that is something that I hope my kids get from it. But yeah, they're very sweet. When I have deadlines, they'll be like, come on, Mom, you can do it 2 more days, finish your painting, So yeah, so it's a good
Wonderful.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned painting from memory like the Champakam flowers at a train station. Is there any particular memory that often returns to you as you paint?
Yeah. So the Champakam flowers were, when I was young and I used to travel to Chennai from Bangalore for my summer holidays with Mom. There used to be the jasmine and the yellow champa, which you don't see that much anymore. So I would ask for the champa flowers to be strung as a long, not the jasmine, the champa flowers to be strung so that I could put it here and make it look like I have long hair and walk through the station with a trail of long champa. And my mom would indulge me and do that for me. So yeah, those were my memories, and I would sniff it and smell it for hours, So that is a memory. And my mother was an avid gardener, and my grandfather.
Yeah.
So yeah, just watching my mom kind of take a cutting from somewhere, stick it in the ground, and it would grow. And I would, be like, wow, she has some magic, So I feel like all that really influenced me with my work.
So when you're beginning a piece, do you already have a color story in mind, or you prefer to mix and follow the rhythm as you paint?
Yeah, so I do paint based on moods.
Yeah.
My moods, where I am emotionally at that point with the piece. So there are sometimes like it's gray and it's like more like dusk feeling paintings. And sometimes it's like a lot of color. My signature style is like lots of color.
And very well balanced, I would say.
Thank you. And of course, I have clients who'll tell me, I like that painting of yours with a lot of blue or a lot of gray. So that kind of planning is there, but mostly it just comes from just going with the flow. I love doing that. It comes from my gut. and I just go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever thought of product designing? Like, I mean, coasters, plates. I mean, it would be beautiful to have your floral on them.
I have thought about it, but for me at this point, I feel like I'm just so proud to be in the fine art space, and I really didn't think that I would get here to this point. So I want to stay with that for a while. I mean, I've been made offers for various things,
Okay.
books and coasters and carpets and furnishings, but I just want to stay in the fine art space for a little longer. And maybe at some point I'll start my own line, maybe, or work with a few designers and yeah.
And how have you evolved as an artist in your style of painting from where you began and now to now?
So I feel actually when I started, it was more carefree.
Yeah.
Now it is a little more catering to my clients, and you know how it is with artists and when you work with galleries and things like that. They want you to have that signature style, right? Your buyers they'll say, I want Nidhi Jacob's painting, the signature paintings. So once in a while, I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I want to explore. But the things I still enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
So what I do is I just find new ways of inspiring myself to make new work. Like I'll go visit, whatever. If I'm in Bangalore, I'll go to Lal Bagh or I'll go to Cubbon Park and just get inspired by new plants. Or when I'm traveling, I take 1,000 pictures of flowers and foliage. And can I take this tulip or this thing and something else and put them together?
Yeah.
So I think my evolution is just keeping my love of nature, just keeping it strong and staying inspired and not just being in my studio, just painting.
Yeah.
I would say that's my...
And it goes so well with the Garden City name also, right? Freestyle. So you've spoken about redefining family and identity on your own terms, right? In what ways has the personal journey, particularly your experience as a mother and partner, transformed your sense of self as an artist?
I would say being a mom has been something that's given me a lot of empowerment and strength. The fact that you have children and you're a caregiver almost makes you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
For me, it's been that, I mean, there are the struggles and taking care and, all those things that we all moms grumble about. But it has given me a sense of strength and power. And my kids have taught me so much. Like I'd said, just watching them draw and paint and be so free and not worried about the outcome or not worried about what will this person say when they see my piece, or using color just so boldly has taught me so much. I taught children for a while, and I taught children art, and I feel like they taught me more in that process of like unlearning and relearning ways to see art, ways to create. So I think, being a mom has given me that. And as a partner, you said?
Yes.
So I feel like I went through a big change in my life where I met my present partner. And I feel like I realized that what is a partner? Like it is somebody, of course there's love and there's chemistry and there's sexuality and all those things. But I feel presently with my partner, I feel like the two of us got together to just kind of help each other shine and grow. And that's been one. We fight about everything, but the one thing that we're really sure about is I want her to be really successful in whatever she does.
Yeah.
And she is constantly championing me to, do things better, like go for this, do that, you should be here, there.
Yeah.
So that partnership has really empowered me. And I also learned that you should do your work as an expression of your love for the work. And again, not just give up control over what the result of the work is going to be. I paint a piece, I paint it for myself because I love it. I love the flowers so much. And also not thinking about whom, like it shouldn't, it's a process that I'm going through. I say it shouldn't worry me if people like my work or not.
Yeah.
Right? There's a section of people that will like it. There will be a section of people that don't like it. But I should love it. And then once I put it out there, it's out there. And, so I feel like, I just do that from a place of authenticity. I keep trying. And so my partnership has taught me that, being a partner.
Outside of painting, what grounds you? Are there any rituals, daily practices, or spaces that offer you stillness or inspiration?
Yes. So apart from painting, I do a little bit of theater, again with my partner, who is a theater actor. And we recently did a piece on inclusion where I was part of a documentary theater piece where we worked with the deaf community, ISL, and we did work. So that doing theater kind of opened me up to a whole new world of seeing and thinking and being. And also when you walk into a space, especially with theater, I can be Nidhi Jacob, I can be whoever, right? But you come into that space and we're all equal. And you have to be good there.
Yeah.
So that is something that really gives me a lot of joy. Yeah,
What's
and
this theater called? I mean, the name of the production or something?
it's
Is it
called
out?
Talk to Me,
Okay.
which is a piece on inclusion. So
Is it out already?
it is out. We performed a show in Bangalore at MAP, and then we did 2 shows in Kerala Museum just 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then there'll be a few more shows in Bangalore.
Okay.
So it was really wonderful working. We
Yeah.
have a deaf actor, Amaldev, we learned so much from, and we all learned a little bit of
Yeah.
sign language. So yeah, that really kind of brings you back to earth, because all of us are so kind of in our own worlds, right? Oh, I'm a great painter, whatever it is.
Yes.
And then you come there and you're just learning new things. So
Yeah.
theater is one thing, and of course gardening. I love doing that, spending time at home with my kids and children, and saying today's rest day, and I will only spend time at home. and
So
just
much needed,
be.
right?
Yeah.
Doing nothing is something.
Yes, absolutely. So doing nothing is like if somebody says, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I'll say, "I'm very busy. I'm busy resting." Yeah. So
And do you have any hobbies or creative outlets beyond your practice of art that fuels your energy too?
So gardening is a big thing. I spend a lot
Yeah.
of time just sitting in. I have a small garden at home, and then we have a farm also where I go and plant, and I'm constantly thinking about, what I will plant where. And I always have these little things that I want to do. Like 2 years ago, I said I want to become a magician, so I'm going to learn magic, but that didn't happen. And then a few weeks ago, a friend said, "You play such nice music for people at parties. Why don't you start DJing?" So that's my new thing. So I'm going to work with a DJ, hopefully, and my friend Nisha, who is also very good with music. So we are thinking that we will learn to mix and all those things, even though I'm technology challenged, and I do events and play music for people. So that's my...
When is the last time you did something new? So
Yeah.
I mean, you're constantly doing something.
Trying to
Yeah.
do something new, yeah.
So when you spoke about gardening, are there any tips or something that you've learned from your experiences? And is your farm open to everyone, or it's a private? What do you?
So it is a dream that it is open to people. I used to give it out like a homestay. Right now we're going through some renovation and I'm going to redo the space. But it is my dream to open it out to artists for like artist residencies and just a way to give back and show more work and things like that. It's a dream. It's in progress in my mind. But yeah, when I get time,
Yeah.
I will.
And gardening tips? Anything
Gardening
that you've learned
tips.
in your experience?
So mostly it's been from my mother, who I used to follow her around, just walk behind her and watch her take stuff from here and put it there. So I think looking at what grows well together, even if you're making a food forest, and I think it's so important right now because our cities are just becoming concretized.
Yeah.
Like to think about, even if I have a small space, what can I do to bring in butterflies or bees or what soil, what climate, all those things. So yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
During the 2020 lockdown, your Pods and Buds series explored death, grief, and regrowth. How did that period of isolation and your time on the farm reshape your understanding of nature's cycle?
That was a beautiful time.
Yeah.
Because we went to the farm with an intention of staying for 3 days, okay? We get there and we get a call saying, lockdown, you can't come back to Bangalore. So we've gone with clothes for 2 days. I haven't taken any art material. I had some paper and some color pencils or some watercolors. My kids had no books, few books that they were reading, no school books. My partner, Bhavna, didn't bring her laptop, so she couldn't take her classes. And so we were all just there. The first few days, the kids, of course, were like, yeah, no school and all that. And slowly we all started fighting, My partner and I started fighting. So we just all took time to be by ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we start, the little bit of arguments, because the lockdown was a time when families went through so much, spending time together. And in our case, we had no gadgets. We had our phones, of course. So yeah, at that point, I would walk out and actually be present. actually sit on a rock and not constantly take photos or thing. Just sit there and spend time because I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, no meetings to go to, no this thing. So I just watched, and we were there for 2.5 months. So I saw a cycle of so many weeds, like ground cover weeds growing, dying, coming back, flowering. So I feel like that really inspired me a lot with, and art imitates life, right? So the whole thing of birth and death and rebirth really came to me in a very strong way. And the fear of it kind of went away also. Yeah.
And your also works are filled with wild lantana, heliconia, banyan, and lotus pods, sometimes real, sometimes imagination. What role do you see your botanical world playing in conversation around ecology and mental wellness?
So what is ecology? Ecology is, I think it is an interconnectedness of all living things, right? Like human, the animal life, plant life. So I feel like with my work, even though it's a very illustrative style, I feel like it can be, my wish is for it to be a reminder to people when they view the works to just see the grandeur and beauty of the natural world. So if somebody who's called me and said, listen, I've gone past your painting thrice, and every time I see something new. And by the way, what is that flower in the corner, that yellow thing? And I'll say, oh, it's this yellow flower that actually a weed, and I was inspired from it and I made it large. And then even if it helps them to go and research it and go to Google and say, this flower, this name, where does it grow? What does it do? What soil does it grow in? Does it still exist? Because we're losing so many species of plants, learning biological names. So I feel what insects grow in that space. So I feel like in that way, I hope my work influences that, and just passes it forward.
Yeah.
And
Generates curiosity,
it
right?
generates curiosity, education in some way.
Yeah.
Mental wellness, of course, with everything that's happening in the world.
Yeah.
I just say, like, if my work can make somebody just like sit down
Yeah.
and just look at it for some time and just be present and have that time to just look at little details, then my work is done in a way. And so many people have, called me or messaged me, and like many months or year after they bought a work and put it in their home. And they say, you know what, when we walk past your painting, it gives us so much peace. And we've got lots of good luck and all after your thing. And I was so happy.
Yeah.
And I feel, so I'm giving back in some
Yeah.
way in that sense.
Very
Because
fulfilling, right?
it's very fulfilling. And if somebody can feel the same thing from that painting that I feel from nature, then it's quite beautiful.
Yeah. And if one of your gardens could come alive as a walkable space with plants, scents, maybe even creatures, what would you want someone to feel or discover inside it?
So this is a dream I've had. Hopefully I'll get to do it sometime, where my art is in a space that you can walk through. And I want to work with people who do scents and perfumes and like of flowers.
Yeah.
Something moving, sensory in so many ways, visually, like smells and sounds and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know how to answer that, but that is something that I think about a lot. Yeah. And in a public space, maybe.
You also mentioned that you designed some garden spaces for a few friends. Do you want to talk anything about those? And
Yeah.
how-
Long ago,
Yeah.
I had designed some spaces because it gave me so much joy. But the problem is I used to do it on my own. And slowly, one or two projects, I brought in gardeners and stuff. But it wasn't feasible. And then as I got older, I was like, my God, I'm like leg pain, back pain and stuff. So if I need to do this, it has to be like a big production. So I stopped. But it was such a joyous thing
Yeah.
to have a space, and like somebody will send me a picture saying, see, look, this is growing,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun.
But what were the three things that you would add in the garden spaces to bring it alive, to add beauty?
So I love weeds.
Okay.
I wouldn't put weeds on the ground because they take over, but I do a lot of like wildflowers and weeds, whatever you can find from the natural environment of the city or state or country, whatever. Water is a lovely thing. So lotus and water lilies are my favorite. And my mother used to love water lilies. She had like every color. She used to go, if somebody says, in Tamil Nadu, in that farm there, they have purple and white. she would drive out and go and collect the thing sapling and come back. So yeah, so water, some wild weeds, and lots of foliage. Even though my paintings are full of flowers, I really like green gardens. So yeah.
You created murals also across Bangalore, from quiet neighborhood to the city's heartbeat. How does painting for a public wall differ from painting in a gallery?
So I have done public space in the sense I have done some schools long ago where I painted for, walls in a school. And then I've done a beautiful project in Hampi, Kishkinda Trust it's called, run by Shama Pawar. So there's a space there where the women in the village come and make stuff out of banana fiber and lotus stem and things like that. It's really beautiful. So I painted a wall for them there in that space. And everybody in the community came and helped me, the painters, the children. So that was so beautiful. And it gave them all a sense of ownership of the works. So doing art in public spaces is that. I feel like it gives people in that space a sense of ownership. And it's like, I will take care of the space. Don't go pee there or don't go throw garbage there or whatever. Then I've done the airport. Of course, that's a paid project. And I just recently went to the airport at Terminal 2. I hadn't visited. It was in construction when I visited. And then I went 2 weeks ago when we went to Cochin to perform. And I saw the work. It's like bustling with people, and it was such a pleasure to see. And I was just looking when I was walking around looking at people, just looking up at the works, and it just made me so.
I know that's huge actually to do that. Did you sign also over there?
The paintings that I did on canvas are signed. And there's one piece which is a huge wall that I worked with a mosaic company, Palladio, and I worked with them to recreate one of my paintings with mosaic, like tiny tiles. So that is one of the works. Yeah.
Do you see opportunities for collaboration between your botanical murals and socially engaged projects like Aravani Art Project? What might public art become if it's celebrated with both beauty and identity?
So Aravani Art Project is like, man, I'm just so proud of them. So I've seen their works, that they work with the transgender community. A lot of the queer community works with them. And their work is all over Bangalore. I don't know if it's out of the city. Maybe it is. But it just makes me so proud to see the work and who is creating the work. And it's giving opportunity to so many people who feel so proud that they can create the work. And they call themselves artists, And anybody can be an artist. It's not somebody who creates work for a gallery or, we can all be artists in some way or the other. And I've always dreamt of doing something with them in a public space. Maybe it'll happen. But yeah, just organize. I feel like as a country and as an art community, I feel like we should be funding public art projects for public spaces and promoting artists and not thinking of it only as a commercially viable thing, because I've traveled some countries where art is everywhere. And it makes you feel so good and so proud.
Alive,
and so alive. You don't have to put a sign there. Like, I walk around Alsur Lake and there's these signs everywhere. Don't pee here, don't urinate here. I'm like, if there was art there, maybe you don't have to put those signs because you don't feel like it. So yeah, I feel like it's important that we do more of that. Yeah.
Your Breathing Canvas and Orgasm Flower projects explored women's bodies, vulnerability and joy. What kind of emotional responses have your collaborators shared from these works?
So Breathing Canvas was like a turning point for me in my career.
Something very bold and
as an artist. That gave me a lot of confidence with, like I said, my voice is important. I collaborated with different women. A lot of them were my friends. And some I didn't know very well, but we became good friends after the project because I invited them to come into the space, or I would go into their homes and painted them, their whole body. And I spent many hours with them, from start to finish. It would be the whole day. So I'll start painting them, then we'll have chai. So they're just sitting there, like with, their shoulders painted or whatever. And sometimes I would say, listen, if you're not comfortable, I can just paint your face, hands and legs. You don't have to disrobe. But there were points when many women would be listen, you want to go down? I'll take off my bra or whatever, And it was so beautiful, the process. I did not expect it to be that. That was the thing. When I started, I was like, I just want to paint on bodies as a new medium and take photos of this and see where it goes. But then it became about women talking about childhood trauma and all this being dark, being fair, being fat, being thin, and all that, all the stuff that we carry with us about body image and what we felt. So the conversations became the project. So even when I showcased the work, we had testimonials of all the women who participated and what they felt during and their stories. So that became the thing. Like the sharing became the important part of the project. So it was something else. And even with that, I made this thing of work, body of work, with this photographer, Padma, who took photos of the work while I was painting, after they were painted. We encouraged women to walk out of the space into a garden. I painted myself in my farm, and I walked around the farm with just paint on my body, okay? But once it was on, you don't feel like you're naked. It feels like you're covered in some, yeah. And just that feeling of empowering
Liberation
ourselves,
and
of
free.
liberation,
Yeah.
was just amazing. And also, I was saying, I created the work, this piece of work. I had photos, I had testimonies, we had video, we had a short docu-film kind of thing. And then it was like, where do I show this work? Right? I had no plan because this took 2 years. It was just over a period of 2 years. I kept doing it every week, one person. I signed up or registered for something, and the work wasn't accepted to that festival. And I was so disappointed. And I was like, my God, this is so great. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to put in all my money, hire a space, and do the show. And that at that point, I was like, you know what? You don't need an organization to represent you if you're willing to go all in. And so we hired a space, I put the work out, made it so beautiful. We had hundreds of people coming in. In 3 days, we had hundreds. And people would come in, and I felt like it was a show for women, but they would just come the next day with their boyfriends or their husbands and say, you have to see the work. And I got recognized for that, which was really something else. Yeah.
In a world increasingly saturated with digital noise and visual content, what do you believe is the quiet, enduring power of a hand-painted image?
So there's AI and
Yeah.
stuff recreating tons of artists'
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
right now, this moment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But, when you think about an artist, whether it's a sculptor or a writer or a painter, whatever, we're all really putting ourselves into that work. It's not like you make a work in 10 seconds, It takes me 3 weeks to make a painting or a month. And for a sculptor, it's a long process. So I feel like with handmade work, the buyer or whoever takes it to their home gets a piece of us and what we went through during that time. We might have run our hands over that thing so many times, and they're getting our energy, and that you can't get through replicated digital works or whatever. But sometimes I just tell myself it's okay, just keep creating.
So you also have a solo show coming up next May that you were mentioning in Kinkani Art Gallery. So how are you preparing for this and what's coming up? We'd like to know.
So
what's
the
exciting?
show, it'll be my first solo show in Bangalore.
Yeah.
I've grown up in Bangalore, so I'm looking forward to having this solo. So it'll have a lot of my signature works, lots of color. And then I'm looking at a lot of 2-3 color paintings, looking at a lot more new foliage and nature in the pieces. And I'm very, very excited. Yeah, really excited about it. It's always what do I do with the space? Where will the paintings go? Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
And what's your intention for the people who will experience them?
Like I said, like a reminder of the beauty of the natural world, and that we should be taking care of it. It's our responsibility. And recently I saw a documentary film by David Attenborough, who is a naturalist. I'm reading his book also presently. And I don't know if you've watched it, it's called Ocean. And he turned 99 this year, David Attenborough. So I feel like he's quickly making all these things, and he says also in the film, he says, I'm towards the end of my life, so I want to remind everyone that we need to protect the oceans. We need to. So I feel like I'm also like that, in that way, thinking about that. when I'm painting, if kids come over, my godchildren come over, and they're like, why do you keep painting flowers, Nidhi, or whatever? Then I'll be like, yeah, but then when you don't you think about me or my paintings when you go and see something somewhere when you're traveling and think, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I hope it never goes away.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
That's what you want people to remember.
Yes, yeah.
And what's your dream you're nurturing, still nurturing, big, tiny, or even quietly blooming?
One thing would be, like I said, the doing something is in a 3D space.
Yes.
Which I've been thinking about a lot. Also, I keep making this joke of what will happen. Also, I'm going through menopause, so I have like these little panic events once in a while where I say, what if I fall and break my hand? What if I can't paint? So then I have been thinking of other avenues of still kind of giving back. So I want to maybe start curating artists' work, find artists' work that I really love and start showing it, find new ways to show work. So that is one thing that I'm looking at, getting artists together to do interesting things. And my farm, that's another place that I want to make it more of like an artistic art escape. There's so many things, but I do believe that you should do one thing at a time. So, yeah.
But it all sounds exciting, actually.
Yes, yeah.
Finally, if someone was standing in front of one of your paintings for the very first time, what's the one thing you'd hope they walk away feeling?
I know I put in a lot of love
Yeah.
into my work, so I'd want them to feel love.
Yeah.
And a sense of presence. And also that even though the world is so crazy, there is some hope somewhere. So yeah, so love, presence, hope.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wild, beautiful mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. Thanks.
From wild gardens to breathing bodies, Nidhi reminds us that art can be both a mirror and a seed. We hope that her work stays with you, quiet, rooted, and growing. Thanks for listening to the Expressions podcast. Don't forget to share and subscribe to the New Indian Express YouTube channel.